Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I had an awesome guest on the show. It was my friend Aniko, who I initially invited to talk about winning the green card through the lottery. But Annika was such a complex guest that we actually managed to cover many other topics. For example, J1 visa, her life as an au pair in the US, as well as becoming a US citizen. Aniko has been my friend since 2018, so she's one of the first friends I made here. And since our conversation was quite long, and I know you guys prefer shorter episodes, I divided our session into 2 episodes for easier listening. So, as always, I hope you will enjoy today's conversation. Your support means the world to me because with every play, rating, or review, I am able to grow this podcast more and more. So, with that being said, I am excited to announce that I was finally able to buy pro microphones. So soon you can expect much higher quality audio, I promise. And last but not least, if this podcast brings you any value at all, please leave a review. It will only take a few seconds, but it will allow me to invest more and bring you more quality content. Thank you so much. Love you all. And now, without further ado, let's listen to the new episode. Welcome, Aniko.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation and finding the time.
I'm super happy to be here.
So, let's start from the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? And maybe when was the first time when you started thinking about going to America?
All right. I'm from south of Slovakia, from a place called Komarno. And essentially, I've been living there until I was 24. Right after I finished my uni studies that I did in economy and management, I decided that it's a good time for me to go somewhere. I think I was always tempted to see the world or see something else. And so I found this program, an au pair program, and that's what I did back in 2011.
You came to America first time in 2011 as an au pair.
Yes.
What visa did you need?
That was a student exchange visa. I think it was J1.
How was your first experience with America? Do you remember?
Yes. It was actually so funny because it was for sure a cultural shock to come to such a different place. And I think it was really interesting. I thought that I was prepared, but I don't think that I was really prepared for the difference of the cultures. I really felt that I'm in a very different place, but I enjoyed the variety. I enjoyed everything new, and I enjoyed the traveling and everything that came up with being somewhere else, being in a new country. I think it was a balance in between being a little shocked from the difference, but also enjoying it.
Do you remember what was the biggest difference you felt?
I felt that the biggest difference was that the people in US were doing much more things, or there were much more things for them available to be convenient. So there was always someone to come and clean the house or do services to you, whereas in Europe you're more prone to do them by yourself.
I see. You stayed here for 1 year?
I stayed for 2.
2 years. In the same family?
With the same family, yes.
How was the family?
Oh, they were beautiful. We are still in touch. It's been mom and 2 girls and 2 dogs. And I stayed there for 2 years. I was very happy with them.
How old were the kids?
Younger one was 7 and the older one was 13.
And was this your first experience taking care of the children?
No, I was working before. So right when I was finishing my uni and before coming to US, I was working in school as an educator in the afternoon club. And I had some babysitting experiences before throughout my uni studies. I was doing these babysitting gigs. Plus, I saw my niece being born, and she grew up very close to me. So I was essentially taking care of her since she was a baby.
Do you remember how much did you make, if I may ask you? Like, oh, how much did they pay, or what was included in that?
Yes, so I remember the pay. So the pay always depended on the host family. I know that it was not like a set pay. I guess they had some minimum, but uh, it was essentially on the host family as for what they're gonna pay you. But I got paid close to $200 a week as a pocket money, because then the host family provides you with a place to stay. They usually provide you with a car, with the gas, or pay your cell phone, pay your food. You really have everything given to you, and the money that you get is really just pocket money, really, to your pocket and to your enjoyment. Which, I mean, $200 went further at 10 years ago or 13 years ago than it does now.
For sure. My next question is, how many days in a week did you work, and how many days did you have off?
I worked Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday was off. Unless I know that I used to have an option sometimes to do weekends if I wanted to. They were great. I super enjoyed that flexibility. Sometimes I could do it, but usually Monday to Friday. And with the older kids, it was really for them to just get them ready for school and then be with them in the afternoon.
And you had your own car,
and I had the car, yes.
so you could go around
Yes.
and explore on your
Yes,
own
it was awesome. It was really nice.
Did you make any friends?
Oh, plenty of friends. There was a huge group of au pairs there in the area. There was also a Siemens company in the area, and there were interns, university interns there from all over the world. So we had a really nice group of friends where people were always coming and going, but the group was always intact, and we're going to similar places, and we were doing trips together and movie nights together. It was great. I still have friends until these days that we are in touch from that time.
Sounds like fun.
It was great.
Let's move a little bit forward. What did you do after those 2 years?
So after those 2 years, I went back to Slovakia, and I was like, oh, what am I to do right now? And I still felt that I really wanted to go somewhere and experience something different. Well, first of all, I really wanted to stay in US after au pairing, but I didn't find any good visa option for me to do that. So I went back to Slovakia, and then I was looking for different options. I was looking to go to Canada, but just nothing was really working out. And then I discovered that there's an option to go and use a student visa to go to Australia, and that's what I did.
How many years have you been in Australia?
In Australia, I spent 3.5 years.
I'm about to ask you about the difference in life. What do you think is the biggest difference between Australia and America? And also, which do you prefer? But I guess I know the answer.
I'm here, so that's kind of an answer, but not fully, because I feel that Australia is, because it's so far away from everything works better there. It's like, imagine a Western world, but things work as they should in a way. I feel that there is a higher level of well-being, there is less poverty, and everyone there are more social securities there. People are well taken care of in comparison with US. You also have to take into account that there is 20 million Australians and there's 200 million Americans. So, to manage these two masses of people is also different because of their numbers. But Australia is beautiful. It's very laid back. There is a beautiful balance, work and life balance, that the employers and everyone in the society is encouraging. Whereas I feel that in US, the pressure is for you to work and to give everything for the sake of the career and for the sake of the advancement. So I think that's actually the biggest difference in between the two.
Interesting. What did you study?
So I studied at the beginning, I studied Okay, at the very beginning, I studied fitness because there were these different funky little courses that you could actually do in order to be there for student visa, with student visa. So I was studying fitness and remedial massage, but I had some issues with my arm and I wasn't able to continue in doing the fitness and the massage and this whole holistic direction that I was actually intending to do. So then I just transferred to a different college and I was just doing a business administration. So actually something of a lower grade education than what I already had from Slovakia, but it was serving the purpose of me being able to stay there on the visa. So I was studying and it had a value because I was getting an overseas education, and it still kind of opened the door for me later on.
Also, this brings me to another question. I wanted to ask you, what did your family think about you going to America as an au pair, moving to Australia so far away from home? How did they respond to that? Did they support you?
I think they were always very supportive. With Australia, they were a little scared that it's too far, and it is really far. But I think they were always having my back. They were always feeling that it's a good thing that I'm going out to the world and exploring and kind of finding my own ways. And I always love to go back. I always love to go back and see them, and they are supporting just like that until these days.
Did they visit you in Australia?
So they visited me. My mom visited me when I was au pair in US. They didn't visit me in Australia. No, none of them did. It was just too far, and yeah, and so I don't know. There were different kind of reasons over those 3 years. Why not? And then I was like, guys, it's too late. I'm leaving.
And have you been scared any of those times when you went to America or to Australia?
I think it was maybe a little bit more challenging when I went to Australia because when I came to US, it was that I was coming to the host family. I was coming through the agency, and everything was more organized. Also to Australia, I was coming with an agency, and it was a student visa, and there was a school, and there was the office of the agency in Sydney, and I was able to see them. But still, I was kind of by myself.
Mhm.
There was no one there. I had one friend that I had there in Sydney, but I met her just weeks after I arrived, and everything I had to figure out by myself. And but it was nice. It was a nice challenge.
You've been in Australia for 3.5 years. What was the breaking point when you decided to apply for a green card in a lottery?
Actually, I've been applying for the green card since I was au pair.
Which year was that when you've been au pair?
I was au pair from 2011 to 2013.
From 11 to 13, you've been applying every year until?
Every year until 2015. I think I forgot one year. I think I forgot to apply one of those
So,
years.
like 3-4 times?
3-4 times, let's say, more or less.
So you were persistent. You really
I
wanted to
was
go.
going for it.
I like that spirit because people sometimes they apply once, they don't get it, and they're like, okay, that's not for me. I give up. So
Oh no, it's for free. It's easy. You just go online and do it. It's super simple. So
is it really free?
it is
Pay
free.
fee?
You don't pay anything, and I know that there are some agencies out there that they charge you a fee to do your application, but the only I believe probably it works too through them, but you got to pay them, which is not necessary because if you go to the one and only website of the government that is dedicated to a green card, which is called Diversity Visa, actually, when you go to this website, that's where you can apply, and you do it by yourself, and it's super simple.
Who told you about it?
I think one of those people from this group that I told you about, the au pair and interns group. I guess someone there. I really never knew. I guess I knew about that there is this green card lottery because people know about it, but I just never thought about applying. And I think we started to apply just because the friends did it, and everyone was like, "Okay, well, let's try it."
And you go to the website, and do you remember what information do you have to fill out? And also, can you apply from anywhere? Because you are a Slovak person, but
Yeah.
you lived in Australia.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter? Is it okay to apply for a green card out of your home country?
Yes, definitely. You just have to be a citizen of the country that can apply for a green card because not all the countries are allowed. Based on what I remember, there is certain limit of the immigration every year for each country to, based on what I remember, I think that some of the countries are excluded from applying to green card lottery because they already exceed the certain amount of immigration per year. So there's already too many people from those particular countries coming to US in other routes with other visa options, so they are excluded from being eligible to apply.
That makes sense. And so you applied from Australia?
Yes, at that point in 2015, I was in Australia. Yes.
What did you have to fill out when you applied?
So you had to fill out, I guess, your personal details. I know you had to upload a picture, but in particular, there were some requirements that you had to fulfill with that picture, a white background, and I don't remember exactly, but it was very specific. Maybe your passport details. I'm not entirely sure about that, but there was literally very basic information that you needed to provide. After you fill it out, you submit, and then you receive a particular number. And you have to keep this like a confirmation number or something like this, your personal number. And you have to keep this number very safe, hopefully, or I would recommend in few different places, because they're not going to send you an email. No one's going to show you that number later on in the process. You have to capture that number after you submit it. It's on the screen and it's also set there.
Interesting. And so what do you do with that number later?
You keep that number safe, and the application window for green card is open every year between October and November. And then the following year in May, the results are available. You have to go online. No one's going to send you an email about your results. You have to actually yourself go back to that government website and type in your confirmation number, and then you're going to receive the result.
Basically, you apply within 3 minutes, and then with the number you get, you check later on if you won the green card.
That's correct.
That's all?
No, that's not all, but it's a start. It's a
Well,
start.
it sounds pretty simple. Okay, you receive an approval, right, when you log in?
Yes. So what happened? What happened to me is something else. That's what usually happens, because usually you go in May and you receive your answer, whether you've been selected or you were not selected. What happened to me, that I went online in May and I typed in my number and I received a message that I was not selected, which happened already before. So I was like, that's okay. Next year, I'm doing this again. But in September of the same year, I received an email that was saying that something along the lines of that additional entrants were added, or additional selectees were added to this year's diversity visa selection, and that you should go online and recheck.
Wow.
And so that's what I did. I went online and rechecked, and that's where I saw the letter that said my name and you're approved to proceed with the diversity visa. I don't remember exactly, but that's what it said at the beginning.
That was very exciting.
That was
right?
very exciting. That was very surprising because I was not expecting it. I never knew that sometimes they choose green cards in 2 rounds, or they release certain amount of people the results in May and then later on as well. I never knew that, so that was very unexpected.
I think that's because people who are selected in May, some of them just do not respond to that.
Exactly,
Or
that
they
could
don't
be.
have a good documentation. I think you need to go to embassy after, right? So what did you do then?
Okay.
Celebrate?
Yes. I was very excited. I was very excited and very surprised about all of this. And what happened after is that you receive another number, then you're associated with another number, And that's something like your number in the line of people waiting for the green card. There's 50,000 people selected every year, and you receive a number within this 50,000. So 50,000 visas are available.
Mm-hmm.
However, they apparently always select more people at the beginning because some of them just don't show up or don't even look back at the application.
They lose their number.
They lose their number. Yes. That's why it's very important to see what number you have in that line, and it's the lower the number, the higher the chances for you to get the visa at the end. Because when you're selected, it doesn't actually mean yet that you're getting the visa. It just means that you are selected to proceed with all the process to get there.
After you celebrated your first
Yes.
milestone, how much longer did you have to wait till you actually got your green card?
I received that initial message in September, and I was able to move to US the next year, October. And in between, there were many steps that I had to take before moving in.
That's what I heard, that you have to apply, I believe, before November each year, but
Yeah.
then the green card is actually not for the next year, but the
It's
year
for the
after.
year after, exactly.
Mhm.
So I was applying in 2015, but my green card said the starting date was in October 2017.
What were the steps in between? What did you have to do?
When you receive that confirmation that you've been selected, there is a link, or there is a link to go and fill out an in-depth application online. And that's really an in-depth application online, because it's even asking almost the shoe size of your great grandma from each side. It was really, really like you really had to provide so much information, but it's understandable. So many information about yourself, and it was a long one, but it's online and you submit it, and then you're just supposed to wait for the embassy to reach out to you. In my case, it was an embassy because I was in Australia. I was doing all this process while I was in Sydney. I was waiting for the US embassy in Sydney to reach out to me, or a consulate, I don't remember which one was there, to reach out to me for the interview. Unless they reach out to you for the interview, you're not guaranteed. You don't know if there's visa for you. As soon as you receive a notification that they're inviting you for the interview, that means that there's actually visa for you, and you can come and do the further paperwork to get it.
You got invited for an interview?
Yes.
At the embassy?
Yes, and that was sometimes in March next year. It was around 6 months that I didn't hear anything. I just applied and I didn't hear anything. And I was just hoping and just letting it go and seeing what comes.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us next week for the second part of this conversation, where Aniko explains the final steps of becoming a green card holder, as well as her journey to become the US citizen. Until then, stay safe. Bye bye.